Now, to dig a little deeper here is retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis. He's a senior fellow and military expert with defense priorities. Thanks so much for being with us.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
So in his speech today, Putin seemed to rule out using nuclear weapons after months of suggesting that could be a possibility. Before the invasion began, though, Moscow also denied plans to attack Ukraine to begin with. So can we take him at his word here?
No, I mean, everything is dynamic. I mean, as things exist today, he's not going to use nuclear weapons. But if the conditions change tomorrow, of course, that goes out the window. So I don't put any more stock in that than I did in his comments, comments that were veiled last week or so when he suggested that he might, because I actually give more credibility to that, because if the existential threat is placed on Russia from the West, then there's no doubt in my mind that he'll use nuclear weapons. He's not going to suffer a conventional defeat and leave all of his nuclear weapons in its sheath. I just don't think he'll do it.
Is that something you're worried about?
I worry a lot about it because, the stated policy of the United States is to do whatever it takes, as long as it takes, as President Biden says on numerous occasions, to help the Ukraine side defend itself. And, of course, the Ukraine side just yesterday was reiterated by Zelensky that they want all of their territory back, to expressly include Crimea, which is a very emotional center for Russia. And under no circumstances are they going to allow that to go back. So to say that we're on a path to help Ukraine accomplish all of its objectives means that you're putting it squarely in the threshold of the fear of Putin of facing his existential strike and making the use of nuclear weapons even higher. So I think the U.S. is pursuing a strategy right now that will put us in grave danger of potential nuclear escalation, and it's a bad policy.
And Putin has not walked back claims that Ukraine is getting ready to use a, quote, dirty bomb on its own soil. So if there is a dirty bomb attack, what's the U.S. and NATO's next move?
Well, that's really the million-dollar question right now. And when you look at just on the surface of it, I mean, Russia would have no motivation and incentive right now to use a dirty bomb at all, because they're in the process of mobilizing hundreds of thousands of conventional soldiers. And right now, along the entire line of contact, over 1,000 kilometers of front, they're basically kind of holding steady right now. So it certainly would make sense for Russia to say, we're not going to do anything until we see what that conventional force is going to do, because it could well make a major breakthrough. He knows that if they use nuclear weapons, especially if they're even a dirty bomb and they're accused of or found out that they did it, they would face, overwhelming negative response, probably from the outside by NATO. And so they wouldn't risk that. So the fact that that's something that's being claimed, I don't know where that's coming from. I just know it would not be in Russia's interest to do that. So I doubt that they would actually do it. And I just pray to God that it's, not some independent actor somewhere that would want to do it just to cause more problems.
An investigation from AP and PBS found a top Russian general ordered troops to cleanse entire neighborhoods. One Russian soldier said their orders were to kill everyone, even if they're civilians. So how can Ukraine negotiate with a regime actively trying to kill its own people?
Well, let's just be clear that that's an allegation. And look, we have to take every one of those reports with a grain of salt, because there is a significant misinformation and disinformation really by both sides. I frankly take very little at face value that comes out of either Moscow or Kiev, because they both have a lot of incentive. What matters is what happens on the ground. And right now, there's frankly lots of war crimes going on both sides of this. It's just not reported very much on the Ukraine side in our press. But here's the issue on that directly issue you're talking about. We need to seek a negotiated settlement, because every day this war goes on, more and more Ukraine citizens are killed, more Ukrainian troops are killed, and the greater the chance of expanding that could even draw more people in to be killed. Everybody benefits in the West, especially if we end this war as fast as possible. Now, let me just say, I understand that a lot of Ukrainians don't like that, and they vigorously push against it because they want to win. But as I just pointed out a while ago, there's really not a path to win, because it raises the specter of nuclear use. So we have to look out for America's national interest and the NATO people and our alliance. We've got to keep us safe from expanding into war. And that should take priority in our efforts, not, pushing something that may not work to our advantage.
Retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, thanks so much for your time tonight. We sure appreciate it.
Always my pleasure. Thanks for having me.